What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to T3G.
Well, now you stood up. God damn it.
God damn.
You weren't standing up straight, apparently. And action.
I swear to God, the people we work with these days.
You keep moving forward.
Shut up!
Come on!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to T3G, and today is part 3. Now, normally the last two videos you've seen Dalibor do them. He did the unboxing of the Zen CPU or the motherboard? CPU. And then we did the cleaning of the case.
Oh, that's true. Well, that was a preview video, so that was like 0.
As the title says, today we are doing the build part. Without further ado, let's get right into the build. Now that we've done building the system, we actually ran some tests. Now with the first test that we tried to do, we wanted to see what the temperatures were going to look like between the 1700X and the 8350. So we ran Prime 95 to max out the CPU to see our max temp, but unfortunately hardware monitor was not working properly for the Ryzen CPU. So we switched over to the AMD Master. Now when utilizing the hardware monitor, we noticed that the lowest we got was 49 degrees Celsius and the highest we were in the 70s. If you look at the AMD Ryzen Master software, our lows were in the 20s, about 28 degrees Celsius, and the highs got up to the 60s. And as for the temperatures on the FX 8350, we were looking at a low of 33 degrees Celsius and a max of 57 degrees. Now take into consideration that we also believe that the CPU cooler that was used on the Ryzen might not have been the best choice. We were doing testing 2 different coolers with 2 different CPUs, so the test is going to be a little bit off. I think you can definitely look at better temps with the Ryzen if a different CPU cooler was used than the one that we had. Now we also wanted to run Nova Bench to see the CPU test score on that. For the Ryzen CPU, the score was at 1,249, where for the 8350, you were looking at a score of 620. Basically double the performance with the Ryzen CPU. Now we also did run the Cinebench test. With the 8350 we got a score of 613, and with the Ryzen 1700X we doubled that. We were in the 1200. Now we also wanted to do one final test. That was to see how well this thing does with rendering. So we ran Hit Film, the free edition, on both systems. The 8350 rendered a 1-minute 4K video in 6 minutes and 6 seconds. The 1700X did it in 2 minutes and 19 seconds. Safe to say, if you're somebody that renders a lot or utilizes anything that requires good rendering processing, go with the Ryzen. Now, of course, we don't have to tell you that those tests will tell you that between those 2 CPUs, the new one is definitely the way to go, and then there was a huge improvement between an old CPU like the 8350 compared to this new 1700 from AMD. If you're on the fence about what you might do, of course if you're an AMD fan you're gonna go with AMD, but let's say you were an AMD fan and you're like, well, Intel's been kicking butt and AMD just came out with this new stuff and I don't know if I want to trust with AMD. Trust me, the Intel processor that was available at the time, which was $1,000 CPU, compared to this AMD processor, you couldn't go wrong. So I would say definitely go with the AMD. If you're looking to upgrade, I would definitely recommend the 1700. Now, if you have any other questions about the 1700 or any questions at all about our testing, leave them in the comments below and we'll be more than happy to respond as soon as we can. And as always, if you've liked the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for future tech videos, and of course our other stuff that we do. And we'll see you guys in the next one.